how entrepreneurs are disrupting traditional industries, reinventing core businesses with bold ideas and innovative models. I would like to invite on stage Dolly Chaudhary and Shrishti Jain from Niveshai to introduce the session.
Good evening, everyone. As we come to the final session of today's discussion, I'm excited to explore a theme that's perhaps very relevant in today's time that we are living in: reinventing the core. Traditional sectors that have been the backbone of our economy for decades are no longer what they used to be. They are evolving, transforming, and in many cases, being completely reimagined. The very nature of these industries is changing, driven by technology, shifting consumer preferences, and new business models. Today, we'll discuss how companies in these conventional sectors are adapting, innovating, and creating new growth trajectories in this dynamic landscape. At Nivesha, we are extremely bullish on India's consumption story. We believe we are witnessing a structural shift, a consumption boom fueled by rising income, rapidly expanding middle class, and government led initiatives. As we are talking about model portfolios in the morning and the last session as well, we have even launched a Nivesha Consumer Trends portfolio on the small case platform, where we are actively investing in India's great consumption opportunity. Some of our portfolios reflects these diverse consumption opportunity. And now I'd like to hand over to Shrishti, who will take you through some of our exciting investments in the unlisted space in greater detail.
Traditional sectors have reimagined, and honestly, some of the most exciting action we are seeing today is in the consumer segment. What's amazing in this all new age founders that they are not creating just the brands, they are taking everyday things and are using that we are using and giving them a whole new life. At Niveshar, we have been lucky to partner with such brands early on, like XYXX, Mokobara, and Innovist, each with a completely different story but the same spirit of innovation. Take XYXX, who would have thought that innerwear could be exciting? They have turned it into a premium comfort driven product using modal fabric, and the styles speak for themselves. Then there's Mokobara, run by category create promoters in their legacy run industries. They have made luggage cool again, a design first brand with strong recall and an omni-channel presence, proving that even travel bags can have personality. And Innovist, they have built a house of clean, science backed products that are transparent and loved by today's conscious consumers. Their in house manufacturing setup and ingredient focused approach has helped them to scale up from an ARR of 220 crores to 750 crores in just a year. What tile all these brands is this: they are not just selling products, they are redefining experiences. They show how Indian consumption story is moving beyond affordability to aspiration, and how real innovation can come from rethinking from the basics.
Thank you, Dolly and Shrishti. May I now invite our panelists to join us on stage? I would like to invite Mr. Satish Panchani, Executive Director, True Colors. He has led the company's transformation into a pioneering force in digital textile solutions, driving innovation, sustainability, and efficiency across printing, fabric production, and machine solutions, implementing eco-friendly production processes that minimizes pollution, reduce water consumption, and optimize costs, setting new standards for responsible manufacturing. His mission has always been transfer to digital, transfer to future, empowering businesses with next gen digital solutions that deliver unmatched quality, speed, and reliability. We welcome you, sir. I would now like to invite Mr. Anmol Bhansali, Managing Director at Goldium, graduated from Wharton School, Pennsylvania, and further studies gemology at the Gemology Institute of America. Entered in the diamond business more than 9 years ago, he has immense knowledge and experience in diamond business and is engaged in manufacturing, trading, and jewelry exports. Goldium specializes in both natural and lab-grown diamond jewelry with manufacturing in Seep Zone. Next on stage, I would like to invite Mr. Vedant Mang, Managing Director at Thomas Scott India Limited. He has been leading the company through an exciting transition from traditional apparel manufacturing to vertically integrated company through an excite to a tech-enabled online fashion retailer. Mr. Vedant is a second-generation leader in his family business and has been continuing their legacy while also driving innovation and growth. His goal is to use technology to enhance the customer experience and develop products that result in highest customer satisfaction. This session will be moderated by Dolly Chaudhary and Shrishti Jain from Niveshai.
So first of all, thank you for coming here. So I just want, and my first question is to all of you. So you all cater to different consumer segments in a different way, like jewelry and lifestyle and apparel. These are all historically traditional sectors, and thanks to you who are modernizing and giving it an innovative approach. So what motivated you to reinvent or modernize these sectors, your model, and what were the key bottlenecks that you're facing currently for your transformation within the organization from the supplier or from the consumer segment? And what are you doing currently to win the wallet and trust?
So can I start? So thank you so much, Team Niveshai, for inviting us here. Feeling very excited. Yesterday I was there, sitting there, and feeling blessed कि आप लोगों ने हमें यहाँ पे invite किया, and today get an opportunity to share our journey, what we are doing. So first of all, I will start with कि जब हम when we talk about the businesses that can redefine India's future. At that time, we talk about the technology, we talk about the software, fintech, e-commerce. But the question that comes with her, for us, for all of us, is why the textile can't be reimagined in the same way, right? Why the industry, like we are in Surat, it's a textile city of India. So why this industry, which is so old, मतलब जब से कपड़े स्टार्ट हुए तब से टेक्सटाइल इंडस्ट्री इज देयर सो व्हाई कांट इट बी द बर्थ प्लेस फॉर द इनोवेशन फॉर द डिस्ट्रप्शन आई विल से सो दैट इज वेयर द ट्रू कलर्स स्टैंड फॉर एंड if we talk about the basic customers requirement या basic human requirement, we always talk about the roti kapda and makan. So fabric is the most basic essential thing that we need. If we talk about the fabric, we can imagine either we can use it as a dyed fabric or we can print it, right? And if we go into the printing sector, then from decade long, काफी मतलब multiple decade की हम बात कर रहे हैं. Textile is printing with the traditional printing method, like screen printing, rotary printing, and that's how the things were working. We can say traditional printing is actually the backbone of the fashion and fabrics. But again, traditional printing again comes with a cost. Cost is the enormous use of water, the overproduction that leads to the bigger wastage. Then we talk about the flexibility that this technology offers, right? And that's how we can say there is the challenges of this processes, and globally if we see that how textile value chain is transforming, like they are shifting from this direction. Now people are talking about the sustainability, we are talking about the fast fashion, and if we see Europe, if we see China, they are already being shifted to this sustainable printing technology, or we can say they have shifted to on-demand digital printing technology, right? So what we are trying to do is we are trying to build that ecosystem that can create a path, create a platform for the MSME emerging players, the entrepreneurs who want to start their journey into the future of Indian textile printing, right? So for that, to let's say इसको मैं इस तरीके से बताता हूँ कि let's imagine there is an entrepreneur who want to start his printing business, digital printing facility he wants to own. So rather than going through multiple vendors, multiple suppliers, if he is coming to True Colors, then what we supply the machine, it's a backbone for their infrastructure. Then we supply the raw material, ink, consumable paper, So that is the, we can say it's a lifeblood for the process. And then we have the printing ecosystem with us. So that also gives them the confidence, it's a confidence booster for them, like they are seeing that what's happening, right? So we are trying to build this ecosystem for the new entrepreneur. So this industry can grow a little bit more. And I'm pretty much sure that as world has transformed from the conventional to digital, India is at the, we can say at the moment कि जहाँ पे ये shift India में भी almost start हो चुका है, and it will be the future of India as well. So that's what the technology is like, from disturbing from conventional to digital.
First of all, thank you for Nivisha for having us here. Um, when I look at the COVID era, we were a traditional B2B manufacturer of shirts, just shirts, out of a single factory in Chorapur. And from there today, we operate multiple factories, multiple warehouses. What caused us to do this transition, or move from traditional to a modern e-commerce retail organization? It was simply the moment when everyone was at home in COVID, and we saw a complete paradigm shift in the curve in terms of how consumers were buying. There were a lot of first-time customers who found themselves doing their first ever purchase online. And after that, those first purchases are today the 100th purchase, 200th purchase, maybe even the 500th purchase is going on. And that was a dramatic shift that I anticipated at that point of time and saw. And that led me to believe that there is an opportunity to grow in that particular segment. And as you know, the segment requires you to be very hands-on with information, data, and what you can do. And to be honest, it is one of the segments that provides you the most amount of real-time information in terms of what is happening, and what are the customers liking and not liking, what are they buying, all of those things. So it became imperative that we use information with available modern ways of analyzing things to understand what the customer wants and give them what they want. So this kind of caused the shift. The major bottleneck that I faced at first was essentially on process, because the organization was not built for e-commerce or B2C. The organization was built for B2B, right? And which is much easier to do in India. So process, systems, gathering the right amount of information, collecting all of that. So those were the parts that were the bottlenecks that we worked on first. So today, and we worked on it so much that today we've become a back-end where brands can plug and play and scale themselves in India in the e-commerce segment. Not only Indian brands but international brands work with us in that capacity. And our ability to create systems, processes, and a back-end that can very scalably manage a number of brands is what enables us to give the customer at any point of time what they are looking for in the value segment that they're looking for, and in the designs that they are actually searching for. So that's to answer the question. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you to Nivisha and to the team for having me as well, and for inviting me to speak. As I think about it, Goliath has been constantly, having some form of revolution or the other. 10 years ago, we were a company that was selling 80+% of our sales to wholesalers. Today, that number would be flipped, where we are selling 80+% to retailers. 5 years ago, we were selling 95% of our products were natural diamond jewelry studded. Today, that number is down to 20%, whereas 80% is lab-grown diamond studded. Similarly, on e-commerce, I think we've had a similar journey post-COVID. 5 years ago, e-commerce or B2B2C to international large website companies in the jewelry space. That number was again in very low single digits. Today it's north of 20% of our sales. So we've had to find, and I think it's been driven by the desire to find more ROE, improve our working capital, reduce our receivable days, find more margin. So I think we've had this evolution both in distribution as well as in product over the last 5 to 10 years. And I'm sure moving forward, looking ahead in the next 5 years or the next 10 years, these numbers will change again. As we now, today, retail in India is probably 1% of our sales. I'm almost certain that that will grow very quickly and dramatically as we invest in our country as well. So I think the idea was always to find what's next, find how we can better our business, better our unit economics, and chase that more strongly than the core business. In our case at Goldiam, just to describe it, core would be originally selling natural diamond jewelry to brick and mortar stores around the country. The transition included e-commerce, the transition included lab-grown diamond jewelry, and now predominantly includes entering retail directly in India ourselves.
So Anmol ji, I had a follow-up on this. So if I'm not wrong, we are also entering into retail space. And we know that that segment is very much based on trust. And if new brands enter into this space like Malabar, Kalyan, so how are we targeting to stand out on those parameters, maybe pricing or anything, if you can guide us on that?
Sure, absolutely. I'll give a quick overview. The jewelry market in India, I would characterize into 3 different buckets. One is the wedding day jewelers, so Malabar, Kalyan, Tanishq, regionals like Senko, PN Gartel, PC Chandra, etc. All of them fall in this one bucket where you're predominantly going to them for wedding day jewelry, where your ASPs are high and you're largely looking to buy plain gold. Then in the last 8-10 years, the category of everyday fine jewelry emerged, led by brands like Carrot Lane, Bluestone. There you're looking to buy fashion. You're looking to buy something that feels good, looks good, and that you want to wear both at work as well as post-work. Price points are lower, store sizes are smaller, and largely those businesses are diamond studded or gemstone studded. And then of course there's the traditional business of fashion jewelry, which is silver, brass, and at your extreme low end of the price point range. So I think lab-grown diamond jewelry, which is what we are launching in India through our brand Origin. Today we have now 9 operational stores and an additional 7 or 8 already signed. So the idea is to introduce this new category of jewelry to the Indian customer of lab-grown diamond jewelry and fit it in sort of as a premium to your everyday fine jewelry. Whereas a Carrot Lane Bluestone, the ASP there will be 35 to 45,000 rupees. Our average selling price in the first 6-7 stores we opened is north of 55,000-60,000 rupees. So I think it's that slight premium to your everyday fine jewelry range. I think very important on building trust. Right? We don't have a major incumbent retailer currently entering this space at the moment, though I'm sure they will. How do we create confidence in the customer's eye that yes, I'm spending 1 lakh rupees or 60,000 rupees or 40,000 rupees, but how do I know this brand will be there and what I'm buying is true? Right? So we actually have printed in every store a giant Origin Promises board that's printed and put up in every store, which includes all the same store policies as Carrot Lane today. Whether that's a 15-day, no questions asked refund, a lifetime exchange, a lifetime buyback, all of that's written in and placed in very visibly for the customer to see. 100% of every product sold at Origin is IGI certified. So there should never be a question in the customer's mind that if we claim it's EF color, VVS quality, whether that actually is or is not. And then lastly, I think what we're trying to do is also, build a little bit by talking about our history. Not just history, but also present. We cater to over 6,000 to 8,000 retail doors globally. And of course, people don't know that because it's B2B, but talking about that, showing pictures and videos from inside our plants where we are actually growing diamonds ourselves, I think that adds to that element of credibility. So, हाँ ठीक है आपके पास store policies है, you have your certification, and you have some story about what is the birthplace of this brand and where has it come from? What does the company currently do as well? So we try and communicate this to our customers to build that trust as and take our mark in and market share in this segment.
So Vedanti, as you mentioned, and we all know that Thomas Scott uses a lot of data analytics dashboard. But in a market defined by short product life cycle, how is your manufacturing capability evolving towards a more agile or digitally integrated supply chain or forecasting methodologies?
So, if I was to look at the early days of Thomas Scott, I don't think we could have done what we do without manufacturing support. But every factory has its own way of operating. How we adjusted our way of operating was to create lines that could produce very low quantities in a particular design. So our investment in a particular design is, much lower, and we can try test it out, see how the customer is accepting it, and then once we have customer acceptance, the reviews are good, the ratings are good. We know that the demand is there, people are purchasing the product, the returns are low. Then once these markers were in place, we knew that we could make a bigger bet on that particular design. The good thing is that most of our assortment is in menswear, so menswear trends are also long cycle. And to be honest, when men purchase a particular product and they like it, if the fit is good, they will buy more products of the brand. If the product is really good, they will buy more colors of the product. That first particular sale is very important in the case of menswear, and you make good with the repeat purchases that keep happening. But just to get back to this, to the manufacturing point, manufacturing helps us in two ways. One, it obviously allows us to launch a lot of designs with very low quantities and do the testing of our designs. And the other thing is when we hold manufacturing margins, that makes us more defensive, that allows us to probably go a little bit deeper on the price if required to churn the inventory out. And at the end of the day, we have that margin to kind of protect us in the case of any cyclical movements. So that way, manufacturing really helps us, and our legacy of manufacturing was adjusted to enable us to carry out the model that we do.
And a question for Satish. So in digital printing, as we know that India is in our transformation stage, the penetration is very low. And if I believe that even the machineries are very complex, it's not made in India. So where are we on the development stage? Like where do you see the development going on in 2 years and maybe after 10 years, how the penetration is increasing in comparison to other global economies?
So, if we compare with like when digital printing technology came to India, it's back in एक तरीके से कहे कि जब people were aware about digital printing, this was the buzzword, digital print. It is back in 2013, I guess. So at that time, India was printing somewhere around 3 crore meter fabric annually. If we see right now in 2025, we are somewhere around 180 crore meter printing digitally annually. In total printing market, the conventional printing that is happening across India, its a percentage is still very low. It's around 6 to 7% is there. It's because the early adoption into the technology. What happened, like when we started back in 2013 with a single printer, at that time we bring one printer from one supplier, then we got it installed by the third party vendor because supplier doesn't have the engineering capability with them. We get the paper to print on that machine from the different vendor, we get the ink from the different vendor. For the spare part, we were depending on the different vendor. So there was no ecosystem built at that time. Similarly, as the technology was very new, the penetration of that printing type was very low. So raw material price, it's by nature, it will be very high, right? So to compete that price with the traditional printing, there was a huge difference. So that was the reason that it started very slow in very early days. I guess इंडिया में पहला प्रिंटर 2008-9 के टाइम पे आया होगा, but to match, we can say it was early of a time, right? But over the course of time, what happened, like what True Colors plays the role, like what we are doing is that we face all these challenges during our start days, right? So what we planned is if we bring the machine and we have our own team who can install that machine for the customer who buy the machine from us, then it can be the add-on advantage for them, right? आज भी if we talk about the conventional printing technology और machines जो भी आज यहाँ textile से belong करते हैं, they know very well कि आज आप कोई भी अगर printing machine लाते हो, then आज भी ecosystem वही है conventional printing का कि machine कोई और supply करेगा, installation is from the third party vendor, रॉ मटेरियल आप 2-3 वेंडर से ले लो, सो इट्स अ लॉट ऑफ स्ट्रगल ओवर देयर। फिर अगर मशीन में कोई टेक्निकल दिक्कत आती है फ्लोर पे, इफ यू डोंट गेट द एफिशिएंसी, एवरीबॉडी इज ब्लेमिंग ईच अदर। It's not our problem, it's a chemical problem, it's because of the machine, it's because of the labeling of the machine, that person installing the machine has a problem. So what is the True Colors we try to build is we get the machine, we as a forward integration we can say we build the service network for our customer. Over the course of time, we as a backward integration part we bring the ink so that customer doesn't need to worry about anything. We can be a one-stop partner for them. They buy the machine, they have the raw material access, they don't need to go for paper anywhere. So that's how this company ecosystem was built by True Colors, कि जहाँ पे किसी भी कस्टमर को उनको अगर प्रिंटिंग फैसिलिटी लगानी है, then they have access of each and everything. They don't need to move here and there. So they can focus on their scaling of the business, on their printing efficiency. Apart from that, we are there to serve them. So this ecosystem gives the edge जहाँ पे जो printing 3 करोड़ मीटर से जो स्टार्ट हुई थी, and this kind of more ecosystem has been built in India, जो कि आज इस जो प्रोडक्शन जो कैपेबिलिटी है उसको आज 180 करोड़ मीटर तक लेके गए, राइट? और अगर हम आने वाले 5 से 10 साल की बात करें, the things that happen across the Europe, I guess back in 2010 they have shifted themselves almost 95% from conventional to digital. If we talk about China, they are already doing around 800 to 1000 crore meter annually, right? Because it's more sustainable. They don't need water to print, to process. Then it's fast fashion. Nowadays everybody is talking about the fast fashion. Today we imagine some design and tomorrow you can see that particular design on the floor. That is only possible with the current technology that we are doing, right? So that's why I use the word disruption, because it doesn't add the value in the print, but it's completely change the way that how things was printed before and how they are printing now. So what happened in Europe? What happened in China, that we nowadays in India, we are also at the inflection point where we also are talking about the sustainability. We are also talking about the fast fashion. Our customers are garment manufacturer. They don't want to keep a stock of a fabric in their warehouse. कि हमने इतना fabric लाके रखा है, then we are going to sell. So it's a complete make to order process, and that's why I'm saying कि आने वाले जो 5 साल है, जो बाकी all over the world जो चीज़ हुई है, that is gonna happen in India as well. And True Colors का अगर उसमें हम रोल देखें, so we want to make our ecosystem that much strong, that powerful कि अगर आने वाले टाइम में इंडिया इस जैसे 2 डिकेड पहले IT इंडस्ट्री ने पूरे इंडिया को ट्रांसफॉर्म किया था, हमें लगता है डिजिटल इंडस्ट्री जो डिजिटल प्रिंटिंग है वो पूरी टेक्सटाइल इंडस्ट्री को ट्रांसफॉर्म करेगी. And what we want to do is we want to create that path, we want to lay down that heaven कि जो इंडिया की जो डिजिटल प्रिंटिंग की जो जर्नी है उसमें हमारा कंट्रीब्यूशन एक स्ट्रॉन्ग इकोसिस्टम के रूप में हो. सो टू डिफाइन True Colors, अगेन वी आर ट्राइंग टू बिल्डिंग दैट इकोसिस्टम जो ये जर्नी को सपोर्ट कर सके. वी आर ट्राइंग टू बिल्ड द प्लेटफॉर्म जो आने वाले MSME सेक्टर जो इस इंडस्ट्री में खुद का फ्यूचर देख रहे हैं उनके लिए एक प्लेटफॉर्म प्रोवाइड कर सके. we can be a creator of a sustainable growth ecosystem, and that's how हमें लगता है कि आने वाले 10 साल इंडिया के लिए सही है, टेक्सटाइल के लिए भी ट्रांसफॉर्मेटिव है. So this is answer to your question, I guess.
Thank you, Satishji, for helping us understand the penetration of digital printing. Similarly, I want to understand the penetration of apparel in e-commerce segment or lab-grown diamonds in India, because when we compare it for the same apparels and lab-grown diamonds in US or Western cultures, we have seen a lot of penetration there. But where are we in the adoption stage in India, and how do you see it emerging from here?
I think there's, in lab-grown diamonds particularly, India has probably just scratched the surface of the demand that we see coming ahead in the future. Now, whether that comes in 3 years, comes in 5 years, nobody has the right answer for that, but certainly there is a long runway of growth left, to even currently absorb the demand available in the country. So, just to share data points, right? Carrot Lane today, as an everyday fine jewelry leading retailer, has north of 350 stores. Bluestone would have north of 300 stores. In 3 to 4 years, both of these brands will have north of 400 to 450 stores easily. There's no reason for a lab-grown retailer in our country to not have 200 stores in the next 4-5 years. And then perhaps grow from there also. Today, if you're sitting in a city like Ranchi, Indore, Chandigarh, even Lucknow, if you want to buy a lab-grown diamond, you don't have a national jeweler available in your city to go buy that from. Right? So the demand even today is untapped. And I think as the market grows, which will happen slowly and steadily with different inflection points coming in, whether that's a large incumbent retailer entering the space and giving veracity and strength to the category, whether that's the general customer education, ये actual diamond ही है, this is not fake, this is not synthetic, real कुछ नहीं होता, there's natural and there's lab grown. And as that happens, I'm certain that for the use case of everyday fine jewelry, for the use case of I want to wear something to match my aspirations, I want to own a solitaire. There is no doubt that lab grown will grow in the country in the future. Whether that will be on the same lines as what we see in the US, where today north of majority of diamonds sold are now lab grown, we're not sure, right? But I think the demand will certainly be there to absorb a large cross-country national retailer in this space, and that's what we hope to build our distribution towards.
I'll just add to that. So, in the case of e-commerce particularly, right, the growth journey actually started thanks to the geo movement, and when data became fully accessible to millions of Indians, that movement continued, and COVID just gave a further impetus to how people purchase, with a lot of people having their first ever purchase online, and then that momentum has continued to grow. In fact, the largest amount of growth is coming from Tier 2 and Tier 3 India. Especially for the more premium brands, because the access out there to some of these brands is not very high. So when we look at where our customers are, especially when we talk about some of the most premium products, we find that these customers are not in your Tier 1 metros. They are in Latur, they are in Jamshedpur, they are in Ranchi. So they're in very different parts of India, places where access to general, malls or going out and purchasing a very branded product is not there. So that's where the real penetration is coming and the real growth is coming right now. So the tailwinds have taken off, and obviously, accordingly, the e-commerce segment overall is growing. Fortunately, there's another tailwind that is happening from the unbranded to branded, formalization in terms of how people are purchasing. So that is also adding to the overall growth. So there are a lot of growth drivers, essentially. Generally, at least from an online perspective, there will be a strong double-digit growth at least for years to come in the foreseeable future. Another point that I forgot to mention, the younger generation, what we know as Gen Z or even later millennials, they are also, online first customers, and they also purchase more often, maybe lower ticket size, but the purchase rate is much higher. That again drives the growth. So a lot of drivers going towards it. Obviously, what that percentage is really depends on how things pan out. But yeah, generally it's high double-digit growth is what we're looking at.
You know what? On-demand printing that also help the e-commerce brand that he's mentioning, that in every segment, like from jewelry to fashion to in every segment, like people are nowadays very much choosy about the fashion, about the customization, about the personalization. And I personally know so many e-commerce brands. They are like they shifted themselves from conventional to digital printing into the garment sector. Why? Because then they have access to make to order process. So as per the requirement, they make the garment. So they doesn't need to it leads towards not to waste. If trend is changing in terms of color, in terms of design, in terms of fabric, they are making very limited amount of quantity, and as per the requirement they can further order that quantity. So on the website, on the e-commerce platform, whenever you visit, you see the quantity. They have like 100 of pieces with them, but an actual in warehouse they are keeping 5 or 10 pieces per size. So if they are seeing that particular design is moving, so digital printing is giving them the advantage. They can order as per their requirement. So if particular design is moving, they will order that particular design only. So it doesn't need to worry about the dead inventory that is placed over there into the warehouse, or no need to make the countdown after the end of the year that okay, this much is the sale, this is the purchase, and this is the stock, and then we count the profit, right? So this technology also gives the advantage to the e-commerce brands who are working into the apparel and garment sector, all of those.
Thank you so much, Satiji. And another thing I just want to know is like e-commerce is obviously growing and it's indirectly helping the digital printing as well. But e-com, like if you have a dual strategy model, like you are building for your own brand and you are a back-end manufacturer of brands, right? Like Thomas Cotter's brand behind all the brands. So how do you plan your manufacturing capability between those two? How do you manage, strike a balance between those two, and how the margins differ between them? And what is like creating a brand and being a back-end manufacturer has its own conflicts of interest, right? So how do you tackle those?
So, see, most of our working, and that's what I explained to a lot of people, happens at a product and a trend level. A brand essentially enables you to sell a story to the customer, because the customer may prefer a story more than another. For example, if a customer, and again, different customers are in different value segments. Someone may have a higher wallet size, someone may have a lower wallet size, but their aspiration could be the same. Very common example that I cite is someone may want to purchase, a black trouser or a black cargo pocket pant, right? It is not necessary that every brand should cater to the same kind of product quality, right? The value in terms of what our cost is to what we charge the customers typically very standard. We do not increase it as the brand goes to premium. But what essentially happens is that a value brand allows you to give it to that range of customers who wants to only pay say $8.99, $9.99 for a product. Whereas you probably elevate the product, you add better quality fabrics, better finishing, more in terms of the overall beauty of the product, and then you sell that to a customer who's willing to pay say $3,999 or $4,999. It's the same product at the end of the day. It's the same trend that we're chasing, but it's a different way of manufacturing, quality of manufacturing. Our factories are also segregated in that manner. So there is a factory that will focus more on the premium and high quality manufacturing. Obviously, those brands also have those kind of requirements in terms of what we use to do the manufacturing. Essentially, A, we have segregated manufacturing, and B, we give the customer value for money no matter what the price point is, right? The product is elevated even in terms of cost and in terms of the manufacturing for that particular price point. But we're able to tap the entire chain, right from premium to value. by being able to do it in this manner. So again, the first sentence that I said, we work at a product level. We don't work at a brand level. Brand permits us to sell the story to the customer, but it's the product, it is the trend that is always the hero, and it is the product that is the biggest marketing. So a lot of people think that they need a celebrity or large ad campaigns and all, but your product is what actually creates your customer. When they really like your product and do your second purchase, third purchase, fourth purchase, that is when it actually percolates down.
As we're talking about reinventing the core, if anyone can also highlight about any new trend emerging in maybe jewelry sector or textile sector, that can be a next decadal idea if you want to highlight on something.
Sure. So I think the jewelry sector, because of design, is constantly evolving, right? So there's always new material, new metal. Lab grown is, of course, very well known buzzword everyone talks about, but there's so much more beyond just that core raw material of lab grown diamond, right? There's just multiple metals, multiple design. One thing also very rightly is we see the customers' desire to buy personalized, constantly increasing both globally as well as in India. I was surprised with the amount of made to orders, what we call MTOs, that we get with Origin versus straight out inventory sale. I think it matches what we see in the US and tells us that today's customer is very evolved, they're matured, they know what they want, and if they don't see it available there, they want to create a piece that is unique, that tells their story. Right? So MOQs in our industry can be as little as one piece. So there's you will have to make a mold just for one piece of jewelry, and I think that's an emerging trend we see where technology is certainly helping us. Like where we hope even in India, we're already doing this for our retailers in the US, but even in India through Origin, we're able to in less than 6 months have a young couple sit at one of our stores, enjoy chai, coffee, snacks, whatever, and have the store manager digitally create their ideal piece of jewelry, which shape of diamond, which ring style, what setting, what color of gold, all of that, and what size of center stone, and play around with these 5-6 metric options to create something that's unique to her and is truly a one-of-one piece. In fact, this trend is even more strong in the lab-grown segment because you don't just make the jewelry unique, but you can even make the actual diamond unique. So, where very soon we'll also be launching diamond letters in our stores. So, let's say if your name starts with S, right? You have an actual S made completely out of diamond. No, not chote stones studded in gold. So I think that's the big, strong emerging trend that I want jewelry in this industry. I want jewelry to be unique, to speak to who I am, and to not be available easily for somebody else to replicate.
If I was to name a trend, I think the major trend that we are seeing right now is premiumization. Indians, one that is obviously we're moving to consumption economy, and this government is doing things to improve disposable incomes. What we're finding, is that people are making increasing purchases of higher value or more premium products, especially online. And the reason I say especially online is people who had the first or fifth or 10th purchase now, online are now more confident in that as a platform. And they're very okay with the try and buy. They call for the product, they try it, they like it, they keep it. And when this customer becomes a repeat customer the second, third time onwards, it's no longer a try or buy. So customers are more open to purchasing high ticket items online, high value items online, and as that premiumization as a trend is growing, it is also forcing a lot of the sellers to look at quality, to look at how they manufacture things, to make sure that they're giving customer value for money, but with good quality products, and that's a good movement to have. So yes, premiumization is the major trend that we're looking at, and we're also betting on ourselves.
And I will answer it in a little differently. When we talk about inventing, so in an organization, in any industry, inventing means, as you rightly mentioned, it's about the product. That people are asking for the new designs every time. Technology nowadays, something are now very much possible, which we not be able to imagine few years back. Like in our industries, position placement, printing kind of stuff that you can print, design along with the foil together. You can print on the embroidery thread wherever you want. So this kind of inventing is already happening in the industry. Apart from that, inventing is also in the perspective of the processes of the organization. That nowadays, if you see all over the textile, if you see Surat or if you see the smaller hub of the textile, everybody is now process oriented. So that is also one part of the industry which is changing. Thank you to the global network that is opening the knowledge that we are able to get it right now. The culture of having a guide with you in terms of, let's say, the advisors that comes with the organization that can help you to build the system. So inventing in terms of product is there, inventing in terms of the processes that how you drive your organization, inventing in the terms that how you train your people. That is also the kind of inventing, right? So it is in every aspect of your organization or your company that you have to invent every day. I will say it's more like a learning. People used to say that the day you stop learning, it's the last day of your life. So you have to learn daily to upgrade yourself, to live this life, and same happen with the organization. You have to invent every day in terms of product, in terms of team discipline, in terms of the processes, in terms of the financial disciplines. It's everyday learning, it's everyday inventing, right? So in textile, yes, technology is evolving in terms of fabrics. In past few years, it was very much easy to define this is the polyester fabric, this is the cotton fabric. My colleague is here, he is from the textile background, but still it is difficult for any textile guys nowadays to define whether the fabric is polyester from the natural fiber or the synthetic fiber. So this is thanks to the technology nowadays, from the processing way to from the weaving. Okay. So yeah, it is about the product, but I will cover all the aspects of the inventing with the learning of the organization.
How old you see the Trump madness, where Vedantji see Thomas Scott after 5 years and what is their mode?
Don't know how to answer this. Of course, there is a big, there has been a big challenge with the tariffs that got implemented in April. When we first implemented a 10% tariff, that quickly became a 25% tariff and then a 50% tariff. So the way diamond jewelry works is the US gross margins on diamond jewelry at the retail level are about 50 to 75%. 10% pass-through cost is something that is very reasonable that the retailers can absorb and customers can certainly absorb. So that level is something that can be negotiated and is fairly easy to pass down to our customers. Post that, once the 50% tariff got implemented, we of course had to find a way where we can protect our business for the long term while also ensuring the needs of the government, the prevailing government are met. For us, that meant, and we're lucky to be in an industry where this is possible. For us, that meant basically finding a source of manufacturing in the United States that can create bold castings over there, employ US labor, US workers, US employees, and cast that first cut of jewelry in the United States. Thankfully, that has been managed. Large jewelry companies are doing the same. All of our more competitive peers are doing the same and effectively creating US product of origin through employing US factories. Processing and diamond studding happens in India on those very same pieces, and then that alteration or that job work that our India factories now do for a US company gets shipped back to the United States and sold to US retailers. So it's, of course, it's a challenge. A lot of changes within 2 months that have happened in business models, source of manufacturing, casting capabilities in the US versus now. And I think that is a long-term benefit that we will be employing. Only out of the challenge of, and through this method of casting in the US and working with factories in the US, have we realized that we can actually do this, number one, but we can also do much more. Why not do special order high value pieces directly in the US itself? Why not target that business where you're selling an average selling price instead of $500,000, you're selling an ASP of $5,000 directly in the US, created in the US with 5-day delivery. I think there's certainly new business models that will develop, and we will also focus on in the future. May not be a call, but it will be an add-on, cherry on the cake, as they say. So yes, we're dealing with it, and lots of exciting challenges only bring forth further opportunity.
Right, and I just answered the second question. So, first, to know where we will be in 5 years, we need to know where we are today. So, today, Thomas Scott, TSI, view ourselves as a central backend in terms of technology, production, distribution, and design for brands, be it in Indian brands, international brands, or our own brand. We see ourselves to be the same central backend 5 years from now, but our growth will be driven through depth within the brands that we already have and more brands that may associate with us. So that is how we look at ourselves 5 years from now. What is our moat? Our moat is in our ability to be quick to market. We have great agility in terms of when we go from identifying what are the trends or what are the micro markets that we need to target, and going right from that idea to product, between 15 to 45 days, having the product launched, and then to rescale that, double the agility to double up inventory beds where we know things are working, and so that is essentially what our moat is.
The next two questions are on the similar line. Growth triggers for True Colors and their rest points.
So, if we see from True point of view, our DNA, I can say it's innovation and integration is into our DNA. Day one, we started this company with the one machine and then bringing ink, bringing paper, manufacturing facility in-house. As a forward integration, creating a team of, creating a network of service, creating a demo center where people can see, observe how the printing facility works, how the things can be done. So, over the course of time, in near next few years, that integration, the backward and forward integration in all across 3 business verticals that we are operating, that are in our target zone. So, as India is growing very well, as textile printing industry is growing very well, transforming from conventional to digital printing, what we are aiming is to make the platform for the people who want to excel this opportunity. And if we can support into their growth, people who want to build their facility, people who wants to make their own infrastructure into this printing facility. So our objective will be how effectively, how competitive we can provide them all 3 services. So that will be the growth fuel for us. If our customer, our partners are growing, then it will be a natural growth for us as well.
We have a question from the audience as well. Yes, okay, sir.
Yeah, Almond, this question is for you. And first of all, congratulations to you, the way you have created the business. There's a lot of competitive edge in the business. But with this retail expansion in India, we are actually moving from the core and getting into extended core. Now in India, establishing a brand in retail is very difficult. Now my question to you is that I'm not talking about store expansion. I'm talking about how you're creating the brand, how you're going to create the pricing premium on the brand in retail. And the last question is that how you see 5 years from now, what would be the contribution of retail brand on the total revenue?
Thank you for the comments. So creating a brand is a multi-fold, multi-step journey. It touches all points, right? Whether that's choosing the right real estate, working with the right partners, being present in the right malls, the right distribution, giving even to the point of the capex in the store, right? Ensuring that we treat our customers who may be buying a similar price point as carat and bluestone, but buying 3 times the diamond sizes or 3 times the diamond content, making them feel special because it is a moment of achievement, it is a moment of accomplishment, and having to own a solitaire and a beautiful piece of jewelry. So even on the capex side, right, it's all encompassing. While there are many things that go into it, let me touch upon maybe one or two. I find that the Indian customer, and maybe this is just my thought, but in the last 20-30 years of jewelry retail in this country, no large brand, even with national presence, has created iconic design language and design IP. Today you go abroad, you will see jewelry on somebody's neck or somebody's ring or somebody's hand as a bracelet. You will know that yes, this clover, this is from Van Cleef. This serpent, this is from Bulgaria. This nail bracelet or this love bracelet, that's from Cartier. Even small new brands in the US, whether that's David Yurman, Messica in Europe, they've created iconic design IP, whereas if you sit across the room from somebody wearing a piece from their collection, you know हाँ ये यहाँ से है. And that's not true in India, no matter how large or small the brand. And that's something I feel very personally keen to work on when it comes to Origin. That yes, over time, if we can create just one hero collection, that is a lifetime collection per year, just one per year. In 3 years, if we have IP that is owned by us, that all our marketing surrounds and creates that customer pull, and in 3 years, if somebody in your home or in your office wears a piece of jewelry from that collection, somebody would know, हाँ ये Origin से है. I think we would have done our job there. That's the brand sort of vision, one part of many things that we have for what we're trying to build moving forward. Of course, 80% will be core. ये discount, making charge, regular that we all do. But if 20% of our inventory can be our hero collections that creates customer pull and that has unique design IP that is recognizable, I think we've created an amazing brand, not just a retailer. And that's the trajectory we hope to work on.
What do you expect the brand sales to be internally? What you are aiming for in 5 years time from now on the total business?
So I think our B2B business will also grow certainly. There is a lot of room and runway, legs to go there. In India, the entire industry is growing, and that is a beautiful rising tide lifts all boats sort of scenario. If in 5 years at a higher base of B2B, we have a 50-50 split between B2B and B2C, I think we'll be very happy and we would have created something that is valuable and where we own the customer in India as well. In a market with rising trends in general. So that's something I think we hope in 5 years we can try and achieve.
I would like to call on stage Mr. Jagdish Mohta and Mr. Ashok Kothari to present mementos to our panelists. I would also request Mr. Ashish Ji and Mrs. Tejaswin Amin from Premier Loans, and Mr. Jiten Parmar from Aurum Capital to please join us on stage. And with that, we bring the curtains down on Dhandho Valley 2025. These 2 days have been a testament to the power of collaboration, knowledge sharing, and collective growth. A heartfelt thank you to our speakers, partners, panelists, and of course, all of you, our audience, for being the heartbeat of this event. Here's to the connections made, the ideas sparked, and the ventures that will grow from here. See you next year with bigger dreams and even greater milestones. Thank